Hello? Mic check, mic check. What up, Via? What's up, Eric? Masvidal. Yes, we will get into that. What's up, Martin? Hola, hola. Caesar, hello. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Hope you guys are having a good day. As I'm going to explain in the beginning of the show, we're doing things a little bit different. As far as just like the layout of the show, I guess. Just want to experiment a little bit. We'll talk about it. You're tripping on salvia right now as you're watching my show? Hell yes. I'd have to agree with that, Eric. I'd have to concur with that thought. Salvia is from the elves. I feel you, bro. I remember them. I have quite a fond memory of those guys. Can you guys hear me well, or do I sound quiet? Let me know. You did, Martin? Yeah, that was wild. That was a wild one. Thank you, guys. Cool. I almost started making this without no pants on. Lucky. I had to go get my bong from my car. Oh. All right, the show is starting. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Yesterday podcast with your boy, Audible 484. I'm leaving the screen blank right now, and that's because it's kind of an example of what I want to do with this podcast kind of going forward, or what I want to do a little experiment with. I'm going to show the webcam for people watching on YouTube. Don't trip. But kind of what I want to focus on is the audio aspect of the show. I don't know why I keep calling it a show today, but for those who don't know, I got a new job recently, and it's given me the opportunity to listen to a lot of new podcasts. And the audio aspect of it all really intrigues me and excites me. And so basically what I'm saying going forward is I kind of want to experiment in that realm a little bit more. And I noticed that in the last 28 episodes of the podcast, I've focused a little bit more on the video aspect of it. And going forward, I'm just going to experiment with that a little bit, see where it takes me. You'll see other changes coming, like different like I guess like the layout of the show, talking about sponsors in the beginning now and stuff like that. And that's really it. I don't know. I just kind of want to experiment a little bit more and see how it goes. Um, but yeah, I appreciate you guys for being here. We'll still be recording live here, no matter what, on the on the channel. But going forward, I might focus a little bit more on the audio aspect of it, and that actually brings up another point that I'll talk about towards the end about our new podcast called Mind Control that my cousin and I have. I'll talk about that a lot more. I'm really excited about that. But for now, quick thank you to our sponsor, to Kid Ami. He makes a lot of beats, makes instrumentals and stuff like that. All his information is going to be in the description of the podcast episode and the YouTube video. He makes a lot of dope shit, whether you're looking for something to rap on or you're looking for just some beats to have in the background while you smoke a little something or whatever, or drink something, whatever you want to do. Check it out in the description. We are actually interested in getting some more sponsors for the podcast. If you guys are interested, we'll obviously shout you out just like we did him now, and we could always work on other things as well. Just hit me on my email, audible484@gmail.com. And let's just get into the show. Thank you guys for being here. This is Yesterday. I'm not gonna lie, that felt a little weird talking as a black screen right now. That did not feel normal. This feels better. Hi, everybody. Shout out to everybody who's listening to the pod or watching the podcast live on YouTube right now. In chat, I see Martin N, Little Disco, Frank Third Eye, my boy, Via. Who else we got? Eric, Caesar. I appreciate you guys. So what I want to get into first is my boy Jorge Masvidal. I know that this is kind of like a little, I wouldn't say off topic, but a little bit different than what I talk about normally and what my channel's about, I guess you'd say. But Jorge Masvidal is a UFC fighter, and I would say, like, if you're a really hardcore fan and these are the casual fans, I'm like somewhere in the middle. I love the UFC. I feel like it's such a intelligent showcase of skills and just ways to beat the shit out of somebody. And it's so interesting to me how you could, no matter what your size is, if you're smart in mixed martial arts, you can beat the shit out of anybody, no matter their size. If you use your mind, you can win. And I really like that aspect. So I've been stuck on it the last few years. Anyways, Jorge Masvidal. He has been fighting for about 17 years now in I don't even think just the UFC, but other organizations as well. But he's in the MMA, and he has done it for a long time. 2019, he had the biggest year of his career. He knocked out, who did he knock out? He knocked out Darren Till in Ireland in amazing fashion. He broke the world record for the quickest knockout in UFC history against Ben Askren, and he basically beat the shit out of Nate Diaz. I want to say beat the shit out of him, but did very well against Nate Diaz, who is a monster. I feel like I'm missing somebody in there too, but either way, he did all that in 1 year, and he was named Fighter of the Year. He had, like I said, one of the best years of his career, if not one of the best years of any UFC fighter's career. He hasn't fought in a while since they did the BMF belt fight, which in and of itself was, I think I even did a podcast about that. But, and I'm only explaining this because I know there's a lot of people who don't watch, or we're not into the UFC like that. And I want to kind of explain how huge of a deal what happened this morning was. So it's a guy who's done it for a long time, had an amazing year last year, but we haven't heard from him in a while. And he basically was in negotiations that went sour as far as money and things like that. And he passed on a world championship fight with Kamaru Usman. It was looking like it was going to happen for a while, and then it just fell apart. And another guy who's amazing fucking fighter, Gilbert Burns, Is that his fucking name? Am I just thinking of? I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's his name. Amazing fighter. He was doing very well. He got coronavirus like 2 days ago, and he's out of the fight. It was going to be a main event fight in Fight Island next Saturday, and he got coronavirus and he's out. So Jorge Masvidal. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Let me back up. So since Jorge Masvidal passed because of negotiations on the championship fight with Kamaru Usman, Kamaru fought the next guy who was Gilbert Burns, I believe his name is. And since he got corona, Jorge Masvidal has stepped up, and they are currently, I guess, waiting on coronavirus test to be. That's the last thing. As long as they both test positive and they continue to test. I mean, except test negative and that they're healthy and okay. As long as that continues to happen, the fight will go on and it will happen next Saturday. So a lot of people were saying Jorge Masvidal fucked up, that because he did not take the fight, the world championship fight, he was losing a little bit of his shine. He made a bad business decision, that it would have been the smarter thing to do, because once you're the champ, you hold the card. You can be the person to negotiate because you have the belt. Well, if you don't have the belt, you don't have the same options and things like that. So a lot of people were saying he made a bad decision. I kind of felt like he did. Through this stroke of luck, thanks to COVID-19, it looks like he's getting another chance. And he's taking the fight on 6 days' notice. Kamaru Usman, I'll start there, is a fucking monster. He is a fucking beast. He does not get tired. He is a monster. He is huge. He's a huge man, and he does not get tired. And he does not only can he stand and fight and box you, he will take you to the ground and keep you down. He is incredibly strong, incredibly smart. He is probably one of the greatest fighters alive right now in any weight class. Jorge Masvidal is amazing as well, and I'm not trying to take anything away from that. But to take a fight with Kamaru Usman on 6 days' notice is, in and of itself, legendary. Just to take the fight is fucking legendary. And it's legitimately fucking, I have so much respect for the dude just for taking the fucking fight. Like, that's, to me, is insane. Now this is where things get extremely exciting for me, right? Shoddy in chat says, definitely Masvidal's biggest test as a fighter. I see this fight going multiple rounds. Absolutely, as do I. And I don't think Kamaru Usman's going to go down like, he has a chin. He does not stumble and shit. You know, he doesn't get knocked down often from what I can remember. And granted, I don't really know these type of numbers, guys. I'm not that into it all. But if you do and you're in chat, you want to help me out, that'd be great. But so this is where, in my opinion, it becomes Rocky status. It becomes possibly bigger than anything Conor McGregor has even ever done. If Jorge Masvidal, after being in the UFC or MMA for 17 years and always being this kind of back and forth fighter who would win one, lose one, and you know, lost a lot of decision fights. And then if you know his story, his recent story, I'll go over it briefly. A couple years ago, he basically went on some sort of like a mental retreat and got away from life and his technology, if I remember right. And he kind of just went and was on his own. I don't remember exactly what happened. I can't really remember the story, but he went off on some sort of like a retreat or a vacation and just kind of developed this new way of thinking where he's just like, I'm just going to knock everybody the fuck out. And because he just kept losing too many decisions, basically. So to have that revelation, to come back and start knocking people the fuck out and doing exactly what he's talking about, beating the shit out of fucking promising dudes and making them look like shit, being way too quick and way too smart and way too precise. If he can do this on 6 days' notice and become the champion of the world after being the fighter of the year, having one of the greatest runs of all time, it may be the most legendary thing that has ever happened in the UFC. I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying it's in the conversation for amazing accomplishments. And I'm saying if he wins, all right, this is not going to be an easy fight for him. I do not see this being anything but an intense fucking dogfight. I hate to use that cliche ass term, but I don't see it being anything but a fucking 5-round slugfest where each guy is just gassed and just basically running on all fumes and heart. And heart is really what's gonna happen. It's gonna really be tested here. I'm super fucking excited about it. I cannot wait. The fact that we haven't had any like what I feel like are like well, no, there was a couple actually, but I don't know. I just haven't really been this excited for a card in a while. I didn't think we were gonna see Jorge Masvidal fight anytime soon. Honestly, it didn't seem like we were gonna see any of the guy. I didn't think I'd see any of my favorite guys fight. I didn't think I'd see Conor fighting this year. I felt like it was gonna be a weird year, and a lot of guys were. The rest of the year was gonna be stale. Until like Khabib and not Ferguson, Khabib and Gaethje. But this next Saturday, or in 6 days, it'll be working. Kyle asked where he can watch the fight. It should be. What's up, Kyle? How you doing, big dog? You should be able to watch it. You get UFC Fight Pass or something like that. Not Fight Pass, but I think it's on ESPN. You buy it through the ESPN app. It's kind of weird. Just Google it. But I'm super excited. I cannot fucking wait. I wish there was a way that I could stream it and like only people who pay for the pay-per-view would be able like something like that, Like if I pay for the pay-per-view and you pay for the pay-per-view, we should be able to watch it together. Does that make sense? That'd be a really cool program or something that YouTube could do, or an idea. That sounds like a headache, like a fucking legal headache but it'd be cool if that could be done. But anyways, I'm really fucking excited about it. Check it out. I think it's UFC 251 that's happening next Saturday, I believe. But it will be through ESPN. And like I said, it's not 151, is it? No, 151. What the fuck? What year am I in? Hello? 251. That's right. All right. Anyways, yeah. So it's exciting. If you guys are into the UFC, I'm sure you're excited about it. But yeah. So ESPN Plus, exactly. There we go. Thank you, Eric. So yeah. That was on my mind a lot today. And a lot of other shit was on my mind today. I don't know if that was a good segue, but what the fuck ever. I've been really, really kind of. I've been hesitant to. I know I've said it a lot, but I've been hesitant to get my hopes high because I just recently got a new job working at an Amazon warehouse. But my first impressions were amazing. My first week, I loved it. My second week, I loved it more. My third week, I loved it. And this week, I still love it. I told myself, give it a month and see if you still love it, you still like it. I'm not saying it's like the best job ever, and I but I really enjoy not working with customers and not really having coworkers that are like right next to me and have to like conversate with me and shit like that, right? There's a lot of good aspects to it. Like I go in, I don't really have to it's not like I'm working with a team. I work on my own speed, so I can continue and move, and I can like hustle and use the restroom when I need to. It's very like free. It feels like you're respected as an adult working there. Anyways, I've told myself not to get my hopes too high because I didn't want to, but it's been basically a month now and I still love it. So that being said, today was a rough day. I find myself, because I have headphones on. You're not really supposed to, but I have headphones on, and I noticed that when I have the headphones on, sometimes I feel like it's hard for me to pay attention to what I'm listening to. The podcast might be dull. I just might have to focus on something I'm doing. And sometimes I lose track of what I'm listening to and I'm just thinking. And then I have like fucking two or three voices going on in my head, like my own thoughts and the fucking podcast I'm listening to. And sometimes it gives me a headache. Sometimes it's too much. Today was that day. It was really bad. I couldn't, and on top of that, my fucking shit kept messing. It felt annoying. Anyways, I'm talking too much about that, but it was a little rough. I had a little like annoying ass day at work, right? But that annoying ass moment and me fumbling with my headphones and taking a moment, fuck this or whatever I did, uh, turned to like a really, really sad day and a really depressing, fucking dark day for me. And you wouldn't have known it if you were next to me. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have known it at all. And it was just a lot of like mental thought loops I was getting in. It was like taking those headphones off and just like not really having a distraction while I worked today was a mind fuck because like I had one negative thought and it was just a hypothetical situation from my past. And then it just spiraled and got worse and worse. And I eventually found myself at a point where I took a break and I wrote out this entire, almost like a script for like an epilogue to like a really sad, depressing movie or like a, I don't know, like some sort of maybe even like a really depressing emo video someone would have made with Windows Movie Maker in 2010 or some shit like that. Um, and I found myself after writing it out, putting my headphones back on and listening to some music while I went back to work, that it still didn't go away completely, but it kind of put things into perspective for me. And it kind of allowed me, and I don't want to go into too much detail as to what I was thinking and what I wrote about. What it was just a lot of depressing, dark shit that just spiraled out of control, and I had a hard time controlling it today. Granted, I didn't smoke weed all day, and that's pretty normal for me, which is weird. I don't normally smoke until after work, anyways. Um, but I found myself after writing everything down and going back to work with music on. I found myself feeling better and not getting so caught up in the thought, but also like trying to analyze how the fuck did I get there? My morning was great. I was loving like everything about the day. Like I just sat there and I was like, and I felt good because I got like a little message on my scanner and they were just like, hey, we appreciate everybody for showing up today. Because it's the day after 4th of July. I started at 7:15 in the morning. So you could tell there was a lot of people not there that should have been, because not only did I get that message, but there was like not many people working like at all. And I had to work in a different area that I hadn't yet. And I'm assuming because there was not many people who showed up. So that feels good, man. It does. It feels good to get a little message like that on a fucking scanner you work for. You know what I mean? It's nice. People like companies really like really downplay or underestimate like a solid leadership culture in a job and how much of a huge difference it makes for a lot of different people. um it's a big fucking deal, man. It really is. Like, you want to create a good fucking team, be a leader with constructive criticism and positive criticism, and show that you are willing to do the exact work that you want your people to do. Show them through action how to do things the right way. And it's a very basic leadership skill, and I'm not saying that Amazon's the best. I'm just saying that that's a big deal, and I felt good this morning, as an example. And now I'm going off on a tangent, like sick. But like I said, my day started out great, and it tripped me out as to how I got to that deep, dark pit of thought that I got to within a few hours. And it was like, I still kind of don't even care to figure it out, because that in and of itself is the wrong thing to do when something like that happens is what I'm starting to understand. Trying to analyze myself and figure out the why or the how is sometimes just a lost cause. You can't really figure that out on your own and without years and years of communication and therapy and stuff like that. I don't think you can. I mean, you can figure it out on your own, but it takes a long fucking time. You can't just figure out why the fuck you get into these evil thought loops and things like that, right? So where I've gotten to the point of now is kind of to me, I just kind of understood that like, okay, fuck it. It was a bad day, and that's all it needs to be. Move on. I smoked some weed when I got out of work, and I stopped thinking about it. I just told myself, shut the fuck up. And a big thing that told me to shut the fuck up was I was drove by a really, really intense car accident that was kind of scary looking. And I sat there and I was like chilling, and I was like, I had felt started to feel better, and I just kind of that was the moment I was like, what the fuck? Okay, that's it. And it wasn't even like it's not like those like a moment where you're like, all right, fuck that, like all this energy. It just literally was just lifted and gone, all that negativity. And it was just by rather than getting in a different thought loop of trying to figure out how that all happened and how I got there and why I was so upset and things like that. I just told myself, fuck it, move on. It's a bad day. There's no need to obsess over it. You know it's wrong. You're feeling better. Allow yourself to feel better, and that was it. So that's the bad habit aspects of what I wanted to talk about in the podcast. On top of that bad habit, and this is a little, like fucking bad vibes or whatever, but I will say it. The bad habits we've been noticing in my marriage are kind of like be, when you're with somebody for a long enough time, you start to develop memories that coincide with your partner's habits and actions. And when the person you love and the person you're with has bad habits, you start to attribute those bad habits to bad feelings and bad memories. So even when those bad habits become more rare, when those bad habits occur in your partner, you become emotional about it on a different level. You react a much more intense way than a different type of bad habit they would have, if that makes sense. And ending this thought, I'll say that my wife and I are starting to understand that it's like, damn, we gotta kind of just chill and understand that the bad habits that we do have, although they are fading away and we are both getting better about it, we need to understand that when we do those bad habits, or when we fuck up on occasion, the other person is going to respond emotionally and intensely. But we also need to do our best to understand that those are just bad habits in our partner. I'm going off right now. I don't know if I make sense, but I kind of want to bring the vibes back up. I don't know. I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel that right there. Couldn't get too deep into it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing in the chat? Is that wait? Who's here? It's all about the 805, son. Okay, okay. What's up, Special K? Cheers. Gotta love bad habits. LJ Canty said. Yeah, you got to, right? You gotta. I'll tell you this. You want to know one of the major things that changed my life? Forcing myself to brush my teeth and floss every single night for like weeks. That was like one of the major things that I started to understand. Like, oh, I can fucking just start doing things. I can just start developing good habits. Like, it's literally that simple for the most part. You can just do stuff. Like, you don't, you just got to force yourself to do it. And once you do it and you force yourself to do it enough, not doing it feels weird. You know what I'm saying? I'm here, old man. What's up, Kyle? What's up, Disco? Uh, but yeah, so it's a crazy thing to think about that we can literally change our entire lives, our entire trajectory, anything that we want to do throughout the. I mean, even if there are limits financially, geographically, physically. I mean, physically, sometimes, there are things that we just can't do. And there are limitations. I'm not saying you can go jump off the fucking building you're in and fly. But there are things that you can control. And being healthy, having good oral hygiene, and, having continuing a job, staying consistent with art that you create, whatever the fuck it is, you working out, you can just do it. And it's literally that simple. And it's a trip that one of the first things I did, which was like a few months back, and I'm talking about in like the recent really good habits I've been developing, like, working out, having good oral hygiene, I don't know, like shaving and I don't, just taking better care of myself physically, eating better, not fucking stuffing my face at night, not over drinking just to fucking do it. Um, there's a lot of new things that I've developed, and it's literally started from that. And it's just understanding that you can just make the decision to do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I knew Via. I knew you were gonna say something. Via in chat says, "Damn, stink breath, you actually have kept it up. That's what's up." Hell yeah, every night, dude. Every night for months now. It's been months. Hell yeah, it's always weird making a positive change that sticks and wondering why you didn't do it sooner. Exactly. Exactly. That's kind of like one of the things I'm like, holy shit, man. I could have been doing all this from a long ass time ago. Like I've been listening to audiobooks, listening to history podcasts. Like you want to get into a topic real quick? Franklin Roosevelt was a pretty goddamn good president. I listened to a little like 30-minute podcast today about him and how he handled the Great Depression when it went down. And it's kind of like you can make a comparison to how Franklin Roosevelt handled his response to the Great Depression and our current president's response to the current pandemic. And it is such polar fucking opposites, dude. Like he was like a legitimate leader. And it I said Franklin Roosevelt, right? I'm not saying the wrong fucking president. This is what happens when you don't smoke all day. Then you come home and start talking to people on a podcast and after smoking like really good weed. Anyways, Franklin Roosevelt handled the Great Depression like a boss, like a fucking leader. He spoke of action that needed to take place. Action. He said that he gave it to the American people straight. He told them, we're gonna fuck up. All right, there's gonna be fuck ups, but we need to do something. We don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna try. We're gonna do our best, and we're gonna work together, and we're gonna stand united, and we're gonna figure this shit out. And there was a lot of fuck ups, but he stood there and he said, we're gonna do this the right way. We're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna fuck up, but we're gonna make it better. And his wife, Eleanor Roosevelt, handled her situations like a boss. Side story real quick. If I can say this correctly, I'd be fucking super impressed. But at the time, there was a protest of World War I veterans that were pissed off about the Great Depression. And I think it was thousands of them that were outside of some sort of a political building or something like that. And there were thousands of World War I veterans who were protesting. And what the president just before Roosevelt did and how he handled it, J. Edgar Hoover, I believe. Holy shit, I sound way smarter than I really am because I was into a podcast today. J. Edgar Hoover handled that situation by actually calling in the actual army to go and break up the protests of these World War I veterans. After J. Edgar Hoover lost to Franklin Roosevelt, I don't know if he lost or how that all worked, but once he left and Franklin Roosevelt took over, his wife, Eleanor Roosevelt, said no Secret Service is coming with me. I'm just going with my homies, and we're gonna go out here to these World War I veterans, and I'm gonna chill with them. And she went out there and chilled with them. She ate beans with them. Somebody described it as she ate beans with her own fingers, like a fucking savage, and was out there just chilling with them and talking to them, sharing coats with them and shit like that. Now, granted, I don't know the whole truth about the situation. There could be a whole bunch of conspiracy factors I don't know about. Who knows? I don't fucking know much. But this story made me really like these two people and thought they handled the fucking situation very, very well. Franklin Roosevelt ended up dying from polio, I believe it was. He I don't know if he died from that or he got really sick from it, couldn't walk. But I believe he was a president for a long time, and he was a great fucking leader. And all the things I heard in this podcast really made me kind of sad that we have such a shit fucking leader. I wanted to do air quotes, but I'm just too pissed. Anyways, I'm gonna share stories like that with you guys. I would not. I would be surprised if any of you guys knew most of that information. I didn't know it until about 6 hours ago when I listened to that podcast. So when I hear those little stories, I'll come on here and I'll share them with you guys. Okay, it doesn't mean that I'm smart or I even know them, but you know what it is doing. It's one. It's interesting, and two, it actually helps me retain those facts by saying them again. So, LJ Canty, I appreciate you, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. Mind control. That's the third topic I wanted to talk about today. Hello? What's up, Frank? How you doing, dog? Anyway, so mind control is going to be the new podcast with my cousin Corey and myself. I'm really, really into podcasts at work, like I said earlier, and I'm really interested in doing audio only content. I think there's a really fun aspect to it that's going to be interesting and new and fresh for both of us, especially just podcasting. So we recorded a podcast, and I basically told this story and explained this already on a live stream. So sorry if you heard this already. But we recorded a podcast because we were just going to start a new podcast, him and I, just like conversating and talking and shit like that. And there goes more fireworks. Anyways, I feel like such a boomer lately because fireworks are pissing me off. Anyways, so mind control. Anyways, me and my cousin wanted to do a podcast, but we wanted to do a regular podcast where we were just talking, having conversations and shit like that. But when we recorded it, it just felt kind of like every other podcast. Like there was something special about it, and I want something special about our podcast. So we discussed and we talked, and basically we came to the idea that we want to do a podcast that's sort of like a book club. So every episode, we are going to watch a different movie, read a different book, or listen to a different album. I don't know, maybe talk about current events and stuff like that. But for the most part, experiencing a piece of art and then recapping it with you guys in the following episode, or recapping a different piece of art in every episode. And at the end of every episode, we'll say, hey, next week we're going to listen to the new Cottonmouth Kings album. What? Why the fuck did I say Cottonmouth Kings? We are not going to be listening to Cottonmouth Kings on the podcast. I'm sorry, but I don't know why that is the fucking group that came to my mind. Anyways, so that in and of itself is really exciting because it opens up so much of an opportunity for a community and a way of, and just something new every week. You know what I'm saying? And just something interesting and fun, and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be called Mind Control with Corey and Mikey, maybe Miguel. I'm not too sure. Probably going to go with Mikey, which is what I've been called when I was younger and still am called by most of my family. But we want to call it Mind Control with Corey and Mikey, aka the MCCM podcast. MCCM is a group name that we have made a couple albums as. My cousin and I, we make music and we had this side group, kind of experimental group project called MCCM. It never stood for anything. It just sounded cool. And then we had the opportunity for this podcast and decided, hey, let's turn MCCM into the podcast, and Mind Control with Corey and Mikey just fit perfectly. So yeah. And to explain the topic, if you're interested, the reason behind Mind Control being the title is that when you experience a piece of art, when you experience a movie or an album, or you read a book, your mind is being controlled by that art and that experience. You are entranced by that experience, and you are not thinking about anything else. That journey and that moment and that art is controlling your mind in that moment. And that is kind of the rough concept of what we want to do with it. Um, I've already finished the book that we're doing in the first episode, which is called Chaos. Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s. I believe that's what it's called, by Tom O'Neill. I've already listened to it. I'm probably going to listen to it again soon. It is intense. It is fucking insane, and it is one of the coolest, most interesting books I've ever read and or heard or whatever. And that's the first episode we're gonna do. Kind of actually, that's fucking perfect for to start with that book. That's the first episode because because it's called Mind Control. So yeah, man, I'm really excited about it. I'm really, really fucking excited about it. Commonwealth Kings is getting love in the chat right now. I love it. Video H Monster says you need to journal on the Epstein case. That shit is insane. Yeah, that'd be another interesting topic to talk about. So yeah, the Mind Control podcast will be out very soon within the next probably I'd say like 10 days. And I will be uploading those here. I won't be doing them live. But I will be uploading them here when they're done. I'm not sure when or how often they're going to be, but we'll figure all that out as time goes on. But I'm really excited about it, man. There's a lot of good things happening in my life, and it's nice because sometimes when I look at the old yesterday podcast, the yesterday episodes, like the early ones, it was not that happy. Like I was constantly just on here really complaining and really sad and trying to figure things out. And which is actually really good because it's like I'm glad that I was able to work through a lot of the shit I was able to work through on camera with you guys, because hopefully, who knows, man. I mean, I don't get a lot of views, I don't got a lot of people watching, but if there's even a couple people that just go through my podcast or my music or my whatever the fuck I do on here, and it helps them even a little bit, that's tight. And I know it helps me when I see other people fucking struggling mentally and figuring it out. It's funny because like I love those podcasts. Like I really, really like when Joe Rogan, for instance, talks about mental health and depression. And when somebody who's like really, really like Kevin Hart, when they speak, and when they're somebody who's really motivated and appears to be consistently happy and things like that, and stays on the go, and they talk about how they struggle, and you just kind of like you feel better because you feel like, oh shit, I'm not crazy. So yes, via the Mind Control podcast will be on Apple, be on Spotify, wherever you guys get your podcasts, as is this one. So you guys just search up Audible 484 and you'll find this one, yesterday with Audible 484. And then Mind Control, once it's up, I'll post here and I'll promote everywhere else as well. So Frank in chat says, big homie, we got you. You always got your fam here supporting you since day one, brother. I appreciate you, dude. I appreciate you so much. Thank you guys so much, man. I don't know. I don't really have much else to talk about, guys. I really, I am having fun with this new life, and I feel like working a 40-hour job, which I haven't done in probably like a couple years. Even when I was working at the gas station, I was only working like fucking 30 hours, I think, because it was only 3 days. Yeah, so I wasn't working that much then. But I mean, I worked 45. I'm just working hard again, and just being excited about making money and having money. Or not, I don't. It's not like I have money right now. I'm still catching up like insane. I have nothing actually, but having the prospects and opportunities that we are going to have, and just feeling like I'm providing for my family is like something I can't believe. I just was so content with just like taken advantage of. Like one thing I realized today, and maybe I'll just talk for a little bit longer, but one day I realized like the job I have now, yes, I deal with customers a lot less. Yes, I don't have to deal with annoying ass coworkers and people's energies and stuff like that. And that's a huge fucking deal. But I think that a lot of the reason why I am where I am and why I appreciate the job that I have, even though it is a really hard fucking job, and granted, there's a lot of positive aspects to it, but one of the bigger reasons I think that I'm where I'm at now and I enjoy it and I appreciate it is because I just went through it. I'm just a different person now. Like back then, all I give a fuck about was just myself, and just like I didn't care about the I didn't think about I was so worried about myself being happy and content. And it's not that I'm not worried about that now, but it's just like I thought about it so much that I just got in my head too much about shit. And I could not like accept. It's like I didn't know how to understand what I had. And, I had a job where I was making fucking really good money, and if I could was still working there, I'd be fucking making great money right now. But it was 50 hours a week, and it was hard work, and I had to deal with energies and customers and things like that, and the mental work of it was really hard. And, but the main thing was just I was young and I didn't appreciate it. I didn't understand or allow myself to focus on the positives and consider the negatives. And the fact that the last year or two, I focused on a lot of. I was kind of I would hustle for every little dollar I had, and now having the freedom to just be like, oh, I'm good, feels good. So that's enough. I'm talking too much, Scott. I'm sorry. I hope I make sense today. To recap, Jorge Masvidal has taken the fight against Kamaru Usman at UFC 251 this Saturday, July 11th at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time at UFC Fight Island in Abu Dhabi, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot wait for this matchup. This is going to be intense, insane, and electrifying. Be there or don't be there, you'll be there. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Other than that, I'm I'm really excited. Why have I started to develop this fucking Will Smith laugh lately? Like I don't know why I've been doing that. It's not how I laugh. Holy shit. Also, I learned today that bad habits are really hard to break, but it's as easy as just breaking them. Sometimes you don't have to consider why you have bad habits or what the fucking root of it all is. Sometimes that's just a fucking dark, cavernous cave that you can get lost in. A cavernous cave. Yes, I said it. Okay. Bubba, what's up, Bubba? How you doing, big dog? What's up, Special K? Changing your mindset makes you change your view on things. Absolutely. Absolutely it does, dude. That's really where I'm at. It's like everything just looks different. Video H Monster in chat says, hey, speaking of Will Smith, how did you like that joint or Lucas joint with Big Willie? I thought that was actually really cool. I thought that was actually really, really fucking cool. I love when people who deserve recognition and respect get recognition and respect, even when they're not like, I don't know, like, I don't know. It's not even when it's not like the cool thing to do, I guess you could say. But, so yeah, you got bad habits. Don't get too involved in fucking just worrying about why. Just fucking break them. It's that simple sometimes. And Mind Control, the new podcast with my cousin and I, coming to a podcast platform near you. I'm really fucking excited about that. We're about to have like introduction music. I want to set up sponsors. Speaking of sponsors, if you're interested in sponsoring the podcast, it would be awesome. We're accepting new guys, new people, new gals and guys. Doesn't matter. Come through. Hit me up, audible484@gmail.com. I can speak about your product, your business, your merch, whatever you'd like. Hit me up. And Mind Control, we could use the same thing. So if you guys are interested, hit me up. Our sponsor right now is the Kid On Me, though, so check him out if you guys are interested. He makes instrumentals and hip hop beats for the most part. If you're looking to rap on something, if you make music, if you need some background music on one of your YouTube videos, or you're just looking for some music to vibe to, check him out. His info is in the description of the YouTube video and the episode. Video H Monster said, was it kind of awkward though, or just me? Consider M as like his boy, but then he's collabing with Will. Oh yeah, I saw that a little weird. That when Will did the remix, I didn't see the remix one, but I think that was a little. I don't know, I didn't see it. I don't know. My first impression was like, oh, okay. Anyways, but yeah, guys, I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you so much. I gotta get to bed, man. If I don't get to bed early, I just got to, man. I'm tired. But thank you guys so much. So fucking much. Give the video a thumbs up. The podcast 5 stars if you guys are enjoying. I know the thumbnail wasn't as pretty this time for those on YouTube. And and maybe on the other stuff too. But I'm gonna stop worrying about that so much, and I'm just gonna kind of talk about different things without trying to come up with a good title or a good topic or like a good, like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I try to do too much with these, so I'm just experimenting with different titles and concepts and thumbnails. And Brian Ochoa says Usman for the win. I don't know. I don't fucking know, man. I don't know. I'm scared. We'll see. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it next Sunday. Next Sunday is the day after the fight. So I will see you guys here. We'll talk about it. I got 10 likes on Jorge Masvidal. So if he wins, we got to get 10 likes on the video. If he loses, everybody's got to dislike the video. All right? How's that? Fuck it. We'll do it.